two of their bans. But honestly, if I'm against Giants, I'm just going to ban eject anyway, because nobody else really has any champion you have to be afraid of and you have to target ban. And that's always been the problem for Giants in terms of pick and ban phase. Rocket has the same problem. We saw it last game. Copenhagen also said, okay, Nuke Douglas ban 3 main champions from you, and then we are good to go because we don't have to care about anyone else.
Well, Giants have started by taking Shook's Rengar off the board, but that, while it was the key to success in some of their games, it was also the key to their losses in a few others.
Yeah, I mean, against SK, obviously an unlucky moment, which I don't really feel like we should keep talking about regarding Shook, because he has actually looked very good on Rengar.
It's very true.
If you look at every other situation for him, and I feel like that's a good ban, because it's the only champion where Elements has actually created anything in the early game is when they play like Rengar Lissandra as a combo and they just camp that one lane. Otherwise, we haven't seen them do anything, and there's, of course, the Jax being banned against Giants.
Yeah, they take Nidalee away on Giant side as well. So this means Elements, the first pick available to them. They typically take their time about this. We'll see what they pick up here against Giants.
So Lissandra is open, which has been a big pick for Frog, and we never got to see Wicked play it. I know Kevin can play it, so I would expect it to be the option, and of course being first picked here. Really gone up to be like the #1 pick, because again it's a flex pick, and it works in so many different comps, because either you are there to add crowd control, maybe you're there as the main engage, or maybe there's some sort of wave clear. I mean, she fills so many different roles, and it's just a very, very nice first pick.
I think it makes perfect sense in that situation. Now, worth noting here for Giants is when they have found success, a lot of it has been on the back of Riot comfort picking this Thresh. It's typically been banned away from him, but obviously not going to be the case here. Question is, do they actually want to move that all the way up in the picks? Because there's a lot of stuff still on the table available for them.
Yeah, a little bit, well, a few too many power picks, I think we can say, to really take a Thresh at the moment for Giants. And I can't even predict what they want to play, because they have actually been changing up their playstyle quite a lot the last few weeks. It's not been working for them, but we have seen Siege comps coming in. We have seen full late game scaling with hyper carries. Nothing really paid off for Giants, and fairly standard start as well. Morgana's really come up as one of these top picks as well that you can take early, because she goes in to be a top laner, a mid laner, and a support, so you have no idea where she's going to be in the map. And she just has a very good teamfight and laning phase against the likes of Alessandra because of your black shield from this Morgana here. So I like the first two picks from Giants, not showing too much and getting two very, very strong power picks.
They do manage to pick up the Rek'Sai and the Morgana, yes. We'll see what Elements answers with here. Consider the Corki, but there's still really nothing revealed by Giants in this situation. As you mentioned, they have been doing a lot of different things here, and I wouldn't be surprised if they send the Morgana somewhere other than in the bot lane.
Yeah, no, I mean, top lane for Worlip against Alessandra is more than fine for him. And this is the first time we actually see Reckless not playing Graves. He had 8 out of 8 before, now changing it up, running the Corki, so a lot more mid-game focused. Also Lee Sin coming in, a jungler, which has actually fallen out of favor for a lot of junglers because he just lost so much of his early game. Well, actually his matchup, sorry, in terms of the early game is not as good as it used to be. Like Rek'Sai will beat him in terms of one-on-one fighting, especially if you can dodge the Q from Lee Sin with your knock-up. And then Shook has to make some plays early on, otherwise he's not going to be useful at all. Yeah,
you mentioned, and we all said something had to change. They said it as well. This time they're going to go for a slightly different pickups. And we'll see what Giants answer with on their side. They've still got about 15 seconds to try for the lock-in.
Yeah, so Giants know there's a very real possibility of Elements running a very strong mid-game siege. So they're going to have to get some wave clear on their side. Sivir would add that wave clear for them. And again, they know what Elements is building towards, so there's no real excuse for getting surprised. And I like the Sivir pickup coming in for them. Also into Corki, laning phase-wise, Sivir has always done a very, very good job with the Black Shield against the Phosphor Bomb. Not the Black Shield, but the Spell Shield. And you now have a combination where you have a Black Shield from Morgana and a Spell Shield from your AD carry, meaning for whoever plays the Lissandra on the side of Elements, it is very, very hard to dive onto that backline and lock down the Sivir pick. It should never happen. So Giants actually setting up for a very, very strong 5-on-5 team fight.
Absolutely. They still have a few more options on their side. Elements, however, seem to be a little bit more committed to this siege, as you mentioned. We'll see what they do round it out with, because there's still a lot of potential different picks that can vary the style they're going to play a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's not set in stone yet that it's going to be a siege comp. They just have a very strong mid game with the Lissandra double item power spike for her, like say Morel, Normicon, and Hourglass. And then obviously the Corki with the Trinity Force we always talk about. So they have a very strong early to mid game point, especially also with the Lee Sin coming in, which I'm still a little bit surprised about. I want to see how Shook plays it. It is, of course, his main champion all the way back from actually ever since the guy started playing pretty much. Ahri and Annie kind of adds to the same mid-game power spike.
I think that's definitely true here. We'll see what this bot lane is going to do, because typically they have hung back. They favored the lane swap situation. They favored, again, not really getting into the action hot and heavy early on. But against Giants squad, it's so unpredictable. They're going to have to prepare for a lot of avenues of attack. And I'm curious to see how Giants finish up this squad. Do they go for the more traditional route? Do they do the Sivir Morgana, which I think would work quite well from a harass perspective against this Corki and Annie?
Would be an option as well if they want to again try and reply back with some poke against the Corki from Elements, and you have the Black Shield already to protect the Xerath in the team fights against the Lissandra coming in, and also been one of the main picks for Pepinero. So I actually feel like this is a very good pick for them.
Yeah, and they've only been able to run it once prior to this one. Didn't come to any success, but they are going to give it another go this time around. So it's locked in for Giants. Pepinero will try to give that one another spin.
And again, for Giants Gaming here, you have a very, very strong team fight. You have good wave clear coming in to try and counter the Corki if you want to go for some early pushers. You have a good front line in the Rek'Sai and Gnar. You have the mobility coming in from a Sivir, and of course, double spell shield, or well, one spell shield and a black shield for them. So I feel like Giants have a lot of great options in the team fights. And also their late game is going to be a lot stronger than Elements, because again, Elements on their side not really running any tanks. Corki gets outscaled. Xerath we know is a late game monster. So for Elements here, it's going to be all about again the early game and the mid game here. Can they actually go in and create some picks? Don't necessarily need to straight up 5-on-5 team fight here, but instead spread out the map a little bit, play around that Xerath, and try and catch people off when you have Ahri and Lissandra together. That combination of Frozen Tomb into a Charm will kill people every single time. So a lot of pick potential coming in from Elements, but they have to worry about being outscaled. Yeah,
they certainly do. They also have to worry not to be caught out, not to be out of communication themselves. That has been a bit of a troubling point for them. We'll see if Giants can take advantage in this game or not. Now, is this the game where Elements does bounce back, or are the Giants poised to hand them another upset? Let us know what you think by tweeting at LOL Esports with the hashtag ELWin or GIA win. We're going to go ahead and check on those results. But this game starting up right now. It looks to be fairly explosive. Kevin's debut, re-debut, I should say, into the LCS. The crowd is pumped, and we are getting onto the Rift. Giants versus Elements.
And we heard Wicked talk about how he feels like Kevin comes in to put Elements in a bit of a honeymoon phase where everything is good because you have this new player, positive attitude, motivation for everyone. If that is enough for Elements to actually pick up some wins, we're going to have to see here. They are still the big favorites against Giants. Despite them losing 2 games last week, it doesn't matter. Giants has lost 6 games in a row. So Elements should be able to win this one and give us a bit of a taste of what they can do with Kevin. And of course, Nif as a shot caller. We heard both Froggen and Wicked talk about how Nif has now been promoted to their shot caller on the team. Let's see what he can do.
All right, now it's Giants, so they're making the slightly more aggressive moves here. Kevin staying safe as he senses some danger, or maybe not. As soon as I say it, he's in a little bit of trouble, and he has to Ice Claw out, so not the greatest start. But he will get back in time for the minions to spawn. And
also W start from Pepinero. He wanted to slow Kevin down, then try and land the binding from Riot. Ends up missing it. So a few wrong level 1 spells, we can say, from both Kevin and obviously Giant side here with Pepinero. No pool for Riot, which normally is very, very strong at level 1 for this early trading and trying to get that XP lead in the lane.
Minions have spawned.
Now Werlip going to hang around with Frederick over by his Krug side. The rest of Elements are actually moving on over towards the blue, and we might see another lane swap here as Reckless starts to inch ever closer to that top.
Yeah, lane swapping again. Don't want to play the Corki into Sivir lane. And obviously, I mean, we have 2 of the stronger top laners in terms of lane swapping. Both Lissandra and Gnar can farm from range. We're going to have to see how they want to play it out. Elements misplayed their lane swap against SK Gaming. One of the reasons they actually fell really far behind in that game and had to claw their way back. Let's see how they play it. First a freeze from Nif. Kevin is going to get a level 2 from this Grum, so that's a very, very standard start. While actually Werlip is not getting a camp on his own, he's going to run with Frederick here. So Kevin, let's see if the bottom lane has been frozen or not. Actually, no. Atri is pushing the bottom lane. So now Kevin can get a lot of farm and XP in this lane with the instant level 2, teleport down as well, and Giant starting on the opposite side of the map. They're taking a full clear. Crooks, red buff, and the Raptors, meaning they won't be able to dive Kevin in time. Nif can also recall if he wants to go and assist him. There's so much time now for Elements to make sure Kevin is in a good position where he won't get killed and he can just farm, because this wave is going to build up. And it's all going to be served for Mr. Kevin.
Well, he is waiting for it, but he's got to be careful not to get caught by Riot. Checking forwards, not going to hit him with another Dark Binding there. Whirlib and Frederick actually moving into the opposite side of the jungle now.
So Giants here adapting a little bit. After they saw Kevin in the bottom lane, they realized, okay, we can't be on the top side of the map anymore. We have to be in the bottom side to apply pressure and then force him away from this wave in the bottom side. So now we need to see Elements either recall and go down to help Kevin, otherwise he has to back away. Unless Giants want to look for a dive. Seems like actually they don't want to. Kevin already got his level 3, so still we're too slow. Never mind what I said before. This means a lot of farm for this Lissandra and a big advantage for Elements.
Yep, they are going to hit a Dark Binding there, so Kevin is actually taking quite a lot of abuse and has to back away from that. Meanwhile, Shook had gotten out. I think he knew something was up, wasn't able to go for that red. He is hanging around the bottom side, however, and another buff being started by Frederick and Whirlib. Looks like it's going to be the blue one, so that one should go down pretty easy. Reckless and Nif doing the slow push in the top side. Kevin's going to take another Dark Binding and the double Boomerang Blade.
And I just went back to the start of the laning phase when the minions came in, and I'm really surprised the Giants decided to push the wave just to give all the farm and XP to Kevin when they didn't even want to go for a fast jungle clear with their jungle and top laner to go and dive him or zone him away. Instead, they pushed in the wave and just sat back in jungle farming and did nothing else. So they gained absolutely nothing other than except for a bit of tower damage, honestly. But that's not worth it, in my opinion, now that your top lane is so far behind, and he just got to the lane now where the turret should be fairly even in terms of damage taken. Yeah.
Not only that, because Kevin went the instant teleport route, as opposed to Whirlib, who waited around for a while before he used it too. There's going to be a small timing window if Elements want to do anything, if they swap back around to the bottom side, control the dragon even. So Giants are kind of putting themselves in unnecessarily bad situations.
Yeah, there seems to be the misunderstanding for Giants, because they started to set up a lane swap where, again, you go dive the enemy top laner, where you have your jungler and top laner starting together on a camp, while Elements set up for a, no, we're not going to go for any dives, we're just going to have Kevin farming in the lane with him doing Grump at level 1. So Elements had a clear plan, Giants did not, and that's why they've now been punished, and Whirlib is still getting zoned away from this wave. Reckless managed to actually bounce it really well in the tower. You can see all the caster minions here doing some work for him.
Make those minions work for you, indeed. Whirlib is having some trouble really getting even the table scraps in this situation. Kevin about triple his farm in the bottom lane, even though he's been away and had to go for the double door and start. Frederick's going to be hanging around with Riot in this top side in just a moment, but Elements aren't going to know that just yet. Here comes Riot, though, and now he's revealed.
And Riot actually stayed in the bottom lane for a long time. What we often see as well is if you have this lane where you know it's going to be your 80 carry against the top laner, the support leaves after level 2. So your 80 carry now gets a bit of an XP advantage because he's getting solo XP. In this case, it didn't happen because Riot stayed there for such a long time, and now he's going to the top lane, so they're just one step behind. Kevin has absolutely no problems farming one-on-one against Atri. They're the same level, and Riot is just here now to try and assist Whirlib, but he's already so far behind.
Yeah, it's very strange what Giants have been doing in this situation, but Elements, whatever it was, they're certainly able to decipher it, and they're making the outplays right now. Slight gold lead for them. Kevin's not going to have any trouble, as you mentioned, in this bottom side. Also, Nif protecting Reckless in the rare situation that Whirlib would want to jump in, but he's just so starved for anything right now.
Riot now roaming away from this top lane. He actually started recalling just before. Maybe a little bit of a bait from him. He's setting up for the first gank around this mid lane. So he doesn't really know what to do or where to be in the map, and then suddenly he goes for a bit of a random roam to the lane here. Already walls being placed by Elements. Remember, we are about 7 minutes in, so easy for them to spot Riot.
Yeah, speaking of Elements, big fan vote for them. 70-30. Giants tend to have a fair bump themselves, but not enough. And with the arrival of Kevin, Elements still proving very popular in this situation. So we'll see what Giants can do, because they're just kind of allowing this laning phase to go how Elements wants it. If they start changing, if they don't let that happen, if Frederick really makes a play, we could see something different, but right now they seem a bit lackadaisical about it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, when it's only Adri against Kevin, there's not really any setup for Frederick to gank Kevin. He can just claw away when he sees him coming in. No CC for Adri to lock him down. And Riot is now, after a small trip to the top lane, he's now coming back down to the bottom lane when he actually had the chance before to either stay bot lane and try and zone Kevin away from some farm at least. That's why he left the lane, and now the lane has been pushed all the way back up to Element's turret, and now he's back here again. So he actually gained absolutely nothing the last 2 minutes from his small roams, other than just setting his team even further behind.
And Reckless and Nif are doing such a great job of zoning Warlord back. Yes, he's hit 6 now, but he is so starved for gold. It looks like they're going to grab this tower as well, that he is just going to be so far behind if Giants even want to try to take a team fight. And when that's your primary tank line, he's not going to last.
No, I agree 100%. And what's going to happen now for Elements is they're going to send the Corgi and Annie down to the bottom lane. And the turret is still alive because Kevin has been able to defend it for such a long time. He should be able to clear this one out as well. And then he just swaps back up to the top side once the wave pushes back in. And Elements managed to defend the turret, gain one for themselves in the swap, and more farm and XP in their top lane. And so all, in every single lane, they've just won out on the swap here. We see now, obviously, Reckless and Nif coming down to the bottom side. They just got to defend this turret here. That's all they got to do. And then they're winning out on it. There we go.
Turret nearly taken down. Yeah, Kevin's been eating a bit of poke himself, but there's really not too many ways to dodge that. Frederick is waiting around in the wings, but he can't really get much done here as Reckless and Nif swap their way back to bottom lane.
Now, what Giants can try and do now as a response is have Whirly push down the top wave and then have him run all the way down to the dragon. Not use his teleport, but run from the top lane to dragon. Then you start it. And if Elements decides to TP down for it, you can either take the fight or you can back away, and you have now blown a teleport, traded, or well, gotten that summoner away from Kevin while kept it on your own top laner. If Kevin doesn't react because he's farming the big wave, you get a dragon, and then you can always teleport back to the top lane if needed from Whirlip. So that should be the play for them now, or at least the only option they do have. Otherwise, they're just going to let Elements go back to their lanes with a massive advantage, already level 6 in the bottom lane as well, and getting more damage in.
Going to be able to push this one in fairly quickly. Frederick at half health can't really do much to help Riot out here. He's not even trying that hard to clear the wave. And here we go. Trying to save it up for Audrey, who's going to make his move, pick that one up. But all the same, it just seems like Giants are kind of running around and not, as you mentioned, giving too much thought to what they're going to do. Here comes Frederick. It's not going to be a farm alarm this time. He is actually moving towards mid. They are pinging out Shook. Going to walk very dangerously close to that board. He actually eats a stun. There we go. Maybe they found something. However, Frederick going very low. Froggen looking for revenge, and he gets it. A pair of junglers traded, but it was first blood to Giants as Froggen flashes away from Pepinero's second stun.
Yeah, nice setup here by Giants, actually. Good stun from Pepinero. Very important he gets going in the game here. You want to get this Zeref to his late game, and you can still win the 5-on-5 team fights, despite losing out on this lane swap. Skirmisher Saber as well coming in from Shook. So again, looking for these small duels. Will make him stronger in a one-on-one situation, but he needs to find them then. Normally when we see people buy Skirmisher, they don't really get to do anything, but that's probably mainly because it's been Yankos only seen doing it.
Harsh truth there, man. Ouch.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant
it's quite all right.
It's basically what happened.
It has been kind of strange that when we've seen the Skirmisher Sabers picked up, they have almost made the junglers the priority target for other teams, and they've kind of been picked off really quickly as a result of it. In that situation, Shook checks in a little bit too quickly. He was mid-dash, and then they were able to land the stun. That was also just a big play by Pepinero, too.
It was. Yeah, nice play by him. Shook was setting up for a dash in with the ward and then like kick flash the Zeref into Ahri. Let's see Kevin here. That's a very nice setup here onto Pepinero.
Yep, gonna try to find it, but they find Frederick instead, and they'll be able to take him down, smiting him as they go. Kevin coming up with his first kill.
Yeah, I love the roam here. We saw the wave in the top lane had been pushed back by Kevin, and then he just walked straight down. 0 wards from Giants in that side of the jungle to try and see if there was any kind of roam coming. And just a nice little setup for another kill.
So Giants have gotten themselves a few things here. They're still down a little bit of gold, but it is 1-to-1 in turrets, 2-to-1 in kills. That's in the favor of Elements. Actually been very impressed by Audrey and Riot have been able to keep on the pace with Reckless and Nif so far. Whirlib is starting to chase on Kevin. They've actually closed the CS gap quite a bit. Just left alone for a while.
Exactly. World actually managed to push the wave back in, and there was no teleport from Kevin back when we actually saw the lanes swap around. So Giants have managed to come back from losing the lane swap itself. And obviously, again, this severe lane against the Cork, he can just keep pushing it in. So that was a tower as well from Giants. And suddenly, they are still in a position to make some plays on their side, but they have to respect the pick potential. We just saw it before here. Kevin roaming down from the top lane. That needs to be called by your top laner. When you see Lysandra leave after she built up a big wave, you have to be able to tell your mid laner, be careful, there's a very, very high chance he's sitting right behind you at the moment.
Trying to be careful. Both teams really are here. The Dragon was started by Giants Gaming. However, Elements were able to show some face, push them off. They're a little bit more vision out there. They've not got it in the pit, but they are certainly around. And more members in the area. That Pink Ward and the Skull Crab Shrine, though, is going to mean that they can't take this one undetected.
No rushing the Dragon from anyone. Shook once again. Around this mid lane, Nif is joining him. We often see this from Elements. It's around Shook and Froggen. Around the mid lane, sorry, with Shook and Froggen. We see the plays being made in the early game for them, but already small change in the fact that Kevin was the guy roaming down and joining in as well.
Indeed was the case. Frederick grabs himself his red buff. Kevin still pushing back with Warlib, just a couple of slaps there, but Frederick is going to be joining the party, and Kevin's going to be backing away.
There's no lanes for Frederick to gank, so he should actually just be farming. He has his ulti and he already has tunnels on the bottom side of the map, so he should, or he could just go back and farm and then use the ulti if he ever wants to join for a gank, but instead, see Giants here, they're trying to force a kill on this top lane, hoping for a gank from Shook, and then counter gank it with Frederick. But if Elements manage to spot him, then it suddenly opens up for Dragon for them. Actually, no, it doesn't, because we have the ulti from Rek'Sai and a teleport, so
this is true.
That one. That was actually very smart now what Giants are doing, using Rek'Sai to apply pressure on the top side with the two global ultis and a summoner, we can say, from Giants.
Yeah, he's spending a lot of time there, though. So Frederick is really banking on the fact that he might be able to find Kevin. We'll see if he sniffs this one out. Tremor sense he's going to be seen by that one. Doesn't know. Still doesn't know, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's the Void Burrower. Kevin trying to make his great escape, but it won't be enough. Frederick, with the patience, comes up with the kill.
Yeah, nice setup for him, actually. Again, we talk about how he can always come down straight to the Dragon with his ulti, and suddenly Elements has to back away. Normally, when you see the jungler being on the top side, that's your go-to signal for starting a Dragon, but not against the Rek'Sai. Very nice play by Giants. As we often see, they do well in terms of the early game. Frederick especially is very good at finding the right ganks. They just can't really transition it into anything. Yeah,
good positioning there after the fact, too, for Frederick. He called that the eat and run. Now Reckless and Nif are going to try to push in on this tower. Still, Audrey and Riot are there to contend with. Tormented Soil down. They've got the wave clear, but the tower's going to go. Nif is going to land the timbers, and here comes Reckless. Shook was right there as well, but
Frederick
he takes more damage than he bargained for. Here comes Frederick to make it the 3v3. Dark Binding not going to connect, and Frederick actually going to back off as the Prey Seeker couldn't hit anybody but the minions.
So again, Elements here trying to make a power play in the bot lane to get the tower down is already fairly low. Frederick stayed, however, around it. Came in for the counter gank. Everyone decided to go back to safety. Pepinero with the roam as well. So now Elements can actually just stay here and go for this turret with the jungler 3v2, which could be the play for them, because the two other lanes, there's no pressure in mid and top lane, so why not just put all your focus on that outer turret in the bottom side.
And no trouble whatsoever. Elements looked like a dire moment for them for just a moment, but they were able to answer back. Bang even on the gold for Giants and Elements in this game. However, that is about to change. Reckless, a couple more pot shots will be enough to take this turret, and it goes. So the second tower of the game for Elements. Shook and Reckless making moves in the general vicinity of the Dragon Pit, clearing out the wards and the Rek'Sai tunnels.
Getting those Rek'Sai tunnels, and now straight onto the mid lane. Trinity Force is completed.
Oh,
we have that mid-game spike we always talk about, and Elements are using it right to get these outer turrets down. Open up the map here, start going into the enemy jungle, get the deep vision down, and then look for your picks.
Oh, Froggen waited to the last moment to try to use that last charge, and Frederick gets kicked back in. Shook is going to pick up that kill. They've taken the jungler out, they've taken the mid turret, and there's no response from Giants just yet. Was nearly a Dark Binding, but Riddle not able to hit on that one.
Good decisive play, however, from Elements, knowing the top lane. Ignore that one, they're just standing one-on-one. Put all the focus on getting the last two outer turrets down. with your Trinity Force Corgi, obviously Abyssal Scepter for Froggen. Really like the play. Let's see here, Pepinero
Right in the arcade.
out Nif.
Oh, Nif is oh so low. And they are going to take the dragon anyways. Elements not caring too much about that. Grab themselves another. Whirlip is going to go ahead and take a tower. Here comes the Rek'Sai. Giants going to try to answer quickly. But what can they do in this situation? Elements already backing away. There's a tower, though, for the taking.
Should be tower for them. Only Froggen to defend. So they're trading objectives now, the two teams. All the outer turrets are gone. So honestly, Giants, again, they managed to always reply back. Despite Elements having that very strong mid game, they did manage to get a lead in terms of gold, or in 300, which is nothing in this case, and obviously the first dragon. But then looking back at that top lane, how Whirlip actually managed to get back in farm, I think the wave Elements had after. Let's just see what happens here first with Froggen.
It's going to be Pepinero. He picks him up. Rydal, the Soul Shackles doesn't even matter. Nif says, have a Tibbers in your face, forcing the flash away.
There's no Black Shield for Pepinero when the charm landed. Not really sure what went wrong. But again, about the top lane.
Oh,
the wave from Elements after they took the tower, they didn't actually manage to bounce it back, so it didn't get it to really fast push down towards them, which meant actually the Whirlip could sit and pick up 3 or 4 waves before Kevin joined in, and that's how he caught back up in farm. And he's been using it to get that tower down in the one-on-one. That mid lane kill was a bit weird, however. Not really sure why there was no Black Shield.
Well, Froggen was able to take advantage of the fact that it didn't happen. But yeah, Rydal has really been kind of all over the place. He's been shooting those Dark Bindings, splitting the uprights, really, as he's roamed around the map this game, and it really hasn't paid off too well for Elements. Shook taking a couple of Raptor kills on that side as he chased Frederick away. Now he's moving towards his own jungle. Should be able to give this one over to Froggen once again. So Elements just moving across the map a little bit quicker, a little bit more mobile, but Giants are here now. And they're looking for a little bit of revenge.
And just to save Rydal a little bit, because we were actually wrong. He used the Black Shield beforehand. It has obviously a long cooldown. Froggen knew that, so he went in when there was still about 8 seconds left on it for Rydal, and that's why he didn't actually pop it on Pepinero. We just didn't get to see it in the first place.
Quite a lot of burst. And, well, Froggen. He's doing pretty solid on this Ahri. It looks like he might be playing it out a little bit like an old build. Minus the Abyssal Scepter, of course.
Yeah, there's going to be a DFG for him. Instead of Death Cap coming in. For Froggen on his Ahri. He actually likes to go Outlast as well. Second item to score more tanky, and he keeps timing on to Pepinero.
Yep. Doesn't quite have the damage just yet. But wait, he's got another charge. And he waits until the right time. Takes a couple tower shots. No problem. Wipe off the sweat.
And this is such a problem for Giants because they keep losing their wave lane, the mid lane, and now they're forced to go back and defend the tower here while Elements suddenly get all the map control from it. They can now safely move into the jungle of Giants, place all the wards they want to, and then slowly start moving between the lanes here with their rotations. This first one, there's only Archery left to wave cleared. He will get the wave down, but the tower already took a lot of damage for it.
Yeah, they've got Whirlip around the side too, but he's not quite close to Mega Gnar. Elements nonetheless still going to back away. They've done some serious damage to the tower for the time being. Not much else for them to tank. They will wander back to their own jungle.
So for Elements now, because again there's a lot of wave down out of Giants, you can't really go for straight up siege on the turret. So what you do instead is you play around the enemy jungle, which means you choose two lanes. Let's say top and mid lane in this case here for Elements, which they can use. And then you basically have 4 guys in the mid lane and you have Kevin in the top lane. You push in those 2 waves, move into the jungle, you establish complete vision control, you deny everything from Giants, you get your wards placed, so now they have to take the long route back to their own base to get to the tier 2 turrets in mid and top lane, so you will always be there first. And that's how once you push in both the waves, you can always move and get a few hits on a tower. And if Giants ever try and take a shortcut through the jungle, then they get picked off by the Ahri, by the Lissandra every single time. So now Elements here just got to set up 2 lanes. The third one they can slow push, but it doesn't even matter if they do it or not. It's all about the 2 outer turrets in the lanes they decide to go for.
Elements have a lot of options in this situation. Still playing it oh so patiently. The one dragon up. Another one will be available in about 1 minute and 15. And you can see Elements already starting to grab some vision control back, clearing away the wards that have been placed down by Giants Gaming.
Looks like it's top lane there, leaving alone from Elements, setting up for the Dragon instead. Getting that 15% tower damage can actually be fairly useful if all you get is a few hits every time before Giants get back with their big cannons here to clear the waves every single wave, or every single time. But they gotta worry a little bit about Will if he's gonna push down quite a wave. Kevin should actually be back there now to clear it, and then he can always TP in behind Giants if a fight should break out. Because now as well, when Elements set up control in the jungle of Giants, it suddenly means that there should be no fighting for Dragon, because if Giants Gaming move down to the Dragon, TP from behind from Kevin to flank them, and the fight is over already from there.
Right, and they tried so hard to control this area very early before the Dragon, a minute and a half until now, when it's still about 20 seconds away. Now they're sending Kevin back. Both top laners have the teleport, but you already see Werlib is backed off. He's making moves in that direction. He's going to be grouped with Giants. This could force the teleport. Still a dangerous situation for them to fight, but if they can time the Gnar, the big Gnar that is, properly, Elements could be in a little bit of trouble if they group it up. 3 seconds now. Dragon's about to spawn.
That was a good play by Giants. They cleared up the 2 wards that could have been behind them, so now they actually can move in to the Dragon. Don't have to worry about Kevin flanking them, but they're going for the fight.
Yeah, Werlib's in front. They've already popped on the hunt. Nif is just isolated from his team. He's going to drop the Tibbers, but they're going to be able to grab him anyways. Now Pepinero, speaking of isolation, kicked back in, and Froggen comes up with another, but they're not out of the woods yet. A big Gnar, but not the direction they wanted to go. Reckless separated up. It's a double kill. Froggen going for another one. Shook is going to be able to zone them out. The Giants are dropping like flies, and it looks like we've got a 23-minute ace. A double kill coming in for Kevin, and how about a Dragon for the cherry on top?
So Giants here, they tried to set up this fight by clearing the ward, so there was no option for Kevin to come behind them with the teleport, but then they overchase on Nif and end up trading their mid laner for the support. Let's see it again. Here's the TP coming in, and Pepinero is being caught out in a bad spot for him. Goes down easily. Now Nif is dead, Pepinero is dead. I think I'm fine with my support dying for the enemy mid laner, and that's why you can also Elements here can keep fighting. Remember that strong mid game we talked about. Froggen is extremely fed at this point, and they can just clean it up.
Not only that, but that serious burst damage they had coming out of Lissandra. Well-deserved double kill. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you catch Nif, because we're going to catch Pepinero. That's just fine for them. Giants Gaming really had to reevaluate what kind of fights they were taking, because at this point, they were even, and now they started to fall pretty far behind.
The fight itself wasn't even that bad for Giants to take again, because they cleared those wards before. It's the positioning from Pepinero. It's been a problem actually all game long. Froggen has picked him off twice now in the mid lane, and then here him trying to walk down the choke point itself, only to realize, oh, we already killed the support. Now I'm just caught in a very bad, basically a bad position for him. And then we saw Elements just come in and kill him before he could do anything and win the fight. And Werlib as well. Notice he's built here. Frozen Mallet, so following the Zion Spartan route. That's what you do if you're really aiming to split push a lot. But Giants, in their case, will be looking more to team fight than actually try and duel Elements in a one-on-one or two-on-two situation. So the Frozen Mallet is not going to do anything for him, except for making him less squishy.
Yeah, well, Shook wishes he was a little less squishy right now. Werlib is going to be able to get the catch on. Nearly going Mega Gnar. He's going to be just a few seconds from that transformation. And Elements not going to take any chances from here. They've already lost the jungler.
We saw Elements try to set up that jungle pressure we talked about earlier, how you need to go in once you have this lead, you have to pick comp, and you can't really siege on turrets because of all the wave clear from Giants. They tried to set up some vision control, but that was again a good response by the Spanish guys, sitting ready and instead actually catching out Shook. So if you see here, there are plenty of wards for them. Now Werlib is in trouble, and
he is going to be the one getting caught this time around. Kevin comes up with a 4th kill from him, and yeah, that Blade of the Rune King Corki really coming in handy, making sure he had nowhere to go, putting some glue on his shoes. Giants are going to be trying to back away from this one. Frederick is going to be trying to defend this top lane as he uses his ultimate to make his way up top.
Reckless knows the late game team fight is going to be all about killing that front line from Giants. That's why he's going for the Blade. Normally you have 3 options. You have BT and Vintage or Blade as your second item on a Corki. BT is for if you have a poke comp or siege comp, and Vintage is the highest damage output you can have. But the Blade is just so much better against the frontline tanks, where you need to be able to kite them around a little bit, and you get that percent HP damage as well from the Blade to really kill. Also a 0 defensive stats or 0 armor Gnar in this case, because he's going for the full HP build with the Frozen Mallet instead, meaning that Blade is going to be very, very effective for Reckless.
Indeed it is, and it has been. Elements really just knowing how to use the tools they have, and a lot of people wondering when Reckless would pull out something different than the Graves. So far this Corki, killless, but it's not without the utility. He's definitely been moving around the map. You can see the Fear Boots, so he's able to get in there and make moves once he's landed a little bit of damage continually. Going in for the rest of the team, a much more utility style build rather than trying to dance around the back. And now Elements, looked like they were caught for just a moment. They're able to walk away though.
Keep seeing Elements try and fight for control in that top side jungle, so it opens up for potential Baron, and again it opens up for them to push 2 lanes at once and start chipping away on the turrets. But they're respecting now the damage coming out of Giants. If you get hit by a binding or stun from Pepinero, you will get locked down. As we've seen before, Reckless just making a little bit of a solo push actually in the bottom lane. Giants not there to defend because they used all 5 guys to try and prevent Elements from getting wards in their own jungle.
And yeah, helps him make good his escape. Not that he needed too much help in that situation. Froggen going to clear another wave in the middle side. Giants are really being dragged around on a leash here by Elements, dictating the pace of this game far better, far more actively than we've really seen from them in previous games.
Yeah, and Giants is not really in a position to start a fight despite seeing the AD carry on the bottom side, having that severe ulti. They were a bit too spread out to go and try and force a fight on Elements, and therefore not able to punish him from actually having this solo AD carry push in the bottom lane. And we go straight back to the top side of the map, pushing in mid and top lane, setting up the ward control. Now notice how Giants, once Elements get proper vision down, is forced to run back to their own base and take the long route when defending turrets, and therefore coming up there way too slowly.
Yep, weren't able to get there in time thanks to the efforts of Shook, Kevin, and Reckless. They're going to be able to knock that one down
before Elements actually set up anything.
Yeah, it's really hard for Giants to really get involved in this, and they just are so afraid of this Element squad, rightly so. And with 40 seconds on the Drake, number 3, that'll make them even more mobile if they're able to pick it up. Giants have to find an answer soon because they are starting to get rolled over.
Yeah, they basically just lost 2 turrets on trying to defend their own jungle, but not the lanes. You see like 3 or 4 guys sitting in that jungle waiting for Elements to place a few wards, but then not looking at the side lanes and how they were pushing in. That's why Elements could get 2 towers for free, not even setting up anything special.
See those gold differences a moment ago. Froggen just coming up so massive in this 5-0-5, of course, but it has netted him a 3,000 gold edge over Pepinero off a lot of those catches and superior fighting.
2-0 on Dragons for them. Next one to spawn. They're once again here with a few wards placed down. Still an opening for Giants to fight. You have 3 items on Pepinero, and actually not... Oh, don't face take that one.
Yeah, it could be some trouble. He's going to tunnel out of a bad situation. Dragon's Life, going to be hard for them to fight this one.
They can see Kevin here.
Yeah, they know, and he's actually going to go in. He's going to throw down the tomb. The Tibbers comes out as well. Werlib taking up as much as he possibly can. Shook picking up Bridle. Kevin is going to walk away from that one. Not too scratched up. Nip in a little bit of trouble himself, but he moves away. Frederick now, oh so low. Reckless moving on forward, and he finds Frederick. It's going to be a 3 for none, and they're going to start looking at Dragon, but Pepinero gets a snipe off on Reckless on the backside.
Still a 3 for 1 here. Elements once again, they get the flank with Kevin. You saw how Giants were moving in. They were slowly warding up next to them here, making sure, okay, where's the engage coming from? Can we spot it in time? The one place that didn't place a ward yet was at their own blue buff, and that's where Kevin came from. Started the whole fight. Nice engage from him. And also another dragon being picked up.
Ooh.
And mid-turret for Giants.
They just barely get the mid-turret. The last couple of minions, total heroes. Let's take a look at how that fight happened, though.
As again, Giants, they tried to ward the flanks, but they were missing the one of the blue buff. That's where Kevin got the engage from, because Elements had moved in earlier to this dragon. And now, after such a good engage, it's clean-up time. They're stronger at this point, and just keep getting a few kills. Obviously, Pepinero in the very end with a beautiful little snipe.
That's consolation prize at this point. We'll take a look at how that one happened. Boom. Goodbye, Reckless, but it was a worthwhile venture for the team. 3rd dragon as well. They do lose an inner turret for it, but they don't seem too perturbed by that at all.
Well, really, Giants, again, they've just all game long been like 1 step behind. Here again, Elements move into the dragon before it spawns, place a few wards, and are in a position to set up this engage over the wall from Kevin. Giants trying to ward the sides when they're moving in, but it takes too long, and then suddenly you end up dying to the beautiful engage. I really feel like Kevin on this Lissandra, he's been looking so good.
Yeah, really is nothing else you can say about that. In his debut here for Elements, Kevin has played exceptionally well. Yes, he's been sometimes cleaning up a few of those kills, but those initiations, those frozen tombs, have just been so massive. He's been able to stay out of danger in a number of situations when you didn't really expect him to be able to. And I think there's definitely something to what we were hearing about how his reputation for passivity was unduly deserved.
Yeah, definitely not been sitting back in this game. They got to start all the fights. And Frederick is in trouble.
Yep, they do a 1-2. How do you do? And Reckless with another kill.
Nobody really expects the AD carry to sit there. So Frederick thought he could go in and actually farm it. And then instant collapse. This could also be a tower for them because again, Giants, they've been sitting in the top jungle trying to deny vision from Elements, but every time they do it, they just get punished elsewhere.
They're going to try to chase here. Kevin a little bit low, but he's going to be able to move. The right of the Arcane is not going to hit the second time around, but there's one more left. Another shutdown for Pepinero. He's still grabbing a few things back, but they lost Frederick earlier, of course. They still are playing extremely reactive to what Elements is throwing at them. And as you said before, they're still a step behind.
Yeah, always a step behind. Second time Pepinero managed to snipe someone, though. They're not really gaining anything for Giants because they can't take anything from it.
Yeah, just a bit of gold in his pocket, really.
Basically, yeah, there's 20 seconds on Kevin. He has teleport ready, so you can't rush the Baron. That's way too risky against how fed Froggen is as well. Dragon is already dead, and you're far away from any turrets. So not really able to do anything with the kill from Giant's side, other than actually finally move away from their own tower. Try and clear a few wards at least.
And he's caught on the charm. They managed to get the ward anyways. So Elements, it's 5-4 towers right now in their favor. They've still got the serious gold lead built up in the Dragons to top it off, but they're letting a wave push against them in top. Kevin's a little bit slow to move up there after he'd backed. And now the rest of Elements are pushing pretty hard on this mid lane.
And Riot just completed his Mikhail's here, which of course is a very important item into against Alessandra to block her ulti against any Tipper's Charm, whatever it is. He actually went for the Seeger's Arm Guard first item, then realized, oh, I actually don't have the luxury to go straight for an Hourglass here. I need to get a Mikhail's to try and help my backline stay alive with my Black Shields as well. And therefore he had to change the build, now delaying pretty much everything for him.
And a lot of that stems from the fact that he was roaming so much without getting anything for it early on in the game. He wasn't getting shared experience. He wasn't getting a whole lot of shared gold. And yeah, he's been a little starved. Not so much when you compare, like Nif hasn't been so far ahead either, but he's got completed items a lot sooner. The Righteous Glory, of course, to help them get a little bit more of their chase on, as they have been. Oh, Pepinero. Goodbye.
That's again what we talk about. You cannot face take into that jungle. You just lost all the vision in it. Elements have set up everything. First time Giants doesn't actually try and defend it. Then they end up dying for it. This should be a top tower as well. 35 seconds on Pepinero. And no real flank option from Giants.
Yeah, Kevin's a little bit low, so Audrey's going to try to be the hero in this situation, but that tower, it's going to drop anyways. And now Element's not too worried about it. Shook goes in, comes right back out. They're not going to have enough damage just yet to finish off the inhibitor, but they're zoning Giants away from defending it. And now Elements are going to try to back it out. They realize Meganar's only a few seconds away, and he is going to throw the house at Nif. Oh,
and
drops the tippers.
Throws tippers.
Yeah, he's going to go self-sacrifice in that situation. Elements seem to be a little bit indecisive about it. They took their time to retreat. Charm's not going to connect. Werliv just keeps chucking those houses. I have no idea where he gets them from, but it's enough to chase Elements away for now.
Chasing them away here. Again, Giants, though, they get a kill. Can't actually get anything from it. Frederick is too low. He has his ulti ready, however. If he wants to go back and heal and then rejoin, no tunnels around the Baron.
I like how they staggered the backs a little bit, but Froggen going in, finds Rydell, nearly finds the damage, and Audrey, he turns his attention to after the fact, so that was a very close call. Now Giants are rushing the Baron.
So there's no ulti from Froggen now, remember, he just used it before. Rydell is back in the base, so it's only 4 guys from Giants. They're already taking a lot of damage. This is a risky play. Kevin teleporting in behind.
Yep, he's going to be making his way as Shook and Froggen were in hot pursuit. They're going to back off of that one.
The Elements managed to stop it. They might even be able to start it themselves if they manage to see Giants recall. Decide to put their focus on this Dragon. Still 3-0 on that one. We'll get the 4th one for themselves.
It's going to be hard for them to contest too. It's 8 seconds away. Crab's going to go over to Elements. it's really difficult for them to check in here. And you can see Kevin, he's just kind of deep in the enemy jungle, just saying, if you come anywhere near me, I am going to be a massive alarm bell for Elements.
He's using that greater stealth totem with the 2 charges, the discount sidestone, to get some vision control himself. And I like to see how, so many of our teams already buy that upgrade early. And as I said in the last game, do it in solo queue as well. It is very, very cheap, and you get 2 wards from it.
Oh yeah?
You get a lot more wards, but you can stack it up to 2 at a time, so it's very gold efficient as well. Go get it.
Well, when Riot's having a 2-for-1 sale on wards, you might as well.
Better get no excuse anymore.
Advantage. Nope, Kevin is coming on in, but he eats a lot of damage for his trouble. They still blow up Audrey as he was separated out. Right of the arcane, Kevin is going to be able to step it out with the double buffs as well. It's a 1 for none. Elements looking good.
Getting another pick. We've seen more plays from Elements in this game than we've seen the last 4 weeks, actually, in the LCS.
He seemed very revitalized in this one. I'll have to agree with you there, Deficio.
So it is against Giants again, a team who's on a 6-game losing streak. But it's looking better, except for the fact Elements are still playing it extremely safe. Want to get that 5th dragon here. Don't want to start a risky Baron or anything. So the game is still on to around 40 minutes, despite Elements being actually ahead from pretty much the get-go in the lane swap.
Yeah. Giants had a few chances to answer back. They didn't properly take advantage of it, and as we mentioned before, they didn't seem to have too much of a plan. Frederick going to go ahead and check the Baron with the Praise Seeker, but he should have known better. Elements not about to start that one. They're backing off.
Backing off, and in their defense as well, it is pretty tough to close out against the Xerath and his wave.
It's true.
So it's not been easy for Elements, but they have been taking the safe route every time they had the chance, and that's why we haven't really seen them push too far in the base of Giants. Only got that inhibitor turret on the top side. Should be setting up for potential Baron here. Same way as you do with the vision control in the top side of the jungle. You force Giants to come and face check you, and then you win the fight from there.
Well, speaking of face checking, Reckless was in a little bit of trouble, but Froggen to the rescue is able to take out Audrey. They're looking for more after this. The charm, he's able to hit 2 with 1 with the charm, 1 with the ball, and there we go. Giants in some serious trouble. Nif coming up with a kill onto Pepinero. Rydal forced to flash away. It's a 2 for none, and that might prompt the Baron from Elements.
Going straight forward, at least 3 guys alive here from Giants. 35 seconds for Archer. He won't be able to join.
There's still
if
a
Elements
smite,
start this one instantly here, they can. I mean, if Giants comes down to try and smite steal it, you just go for that fight. Send Lissandro over the wall to lock down the Rex side.
It looks like it might be the plan. Kevin, though, he's the one caught by the Dark Binding right now. Werlib is going to keep throwing the boomerang out. He goes Meganar, not hopped over the wall. Actually, Elements, they're peeling away for just a moment. Here comes Frederick. He stole it.
What?
Frederick comes up with a steal, gives it over to Werlib and Rydal, and Elements are denied the Baron.
Can't even believe that actually happened. You just send over the Lissandra if there's a black shield coming on Rek'Sai. Well, the thing is, you do it way earlier. So you wait for that to disappear, and then you just lock him in, or you charm him, or whatever. You just don't let him in the Baron pit.
I love the focus from Giants. They landed, Rydal managed to land the Dark Binding on Kevin. It looked like it worn off just in time, but I feel like at that point he just was like, okay, we're going to have to see if that comes up again in a replay. But Giants were able to make, that was kind of like the saving play here. Now, they're still very far behind. We'll see if they can make something happen, but Rydal not looking like a good start for him, but he's got some backup. Werlib is going to go Meganar, and I don't think they've got the damage, nor do they want to take this one. They've got to walk away.
Yeah, Giants now with the Baron buff. Dragon is spawning in a few minutes. They have to get this one. Can't afford the 5th Dragon over to Elements. Let's just see the steal against. For Kevin again, if he goes over the wall here, he's going to play. There's not even any black shield. It's already been used on Werlib. Just sacrifice yourself. Lock down that jungler, and you avoid him going and stealing it.
Oh, Reckless is... Well, he's dead.
2 kills.
Yep, they managed to do it just like that. Now Kevin,
what is going on?
Audrey comes up with a double. Frog Elements, they just high-fived into death here, and they lose another tower. It just seems like now they're all of a sudden completely out of sync.
There's a massive wave here. 2 cannon minions. There's going to be tower inhibitor. Giants should just try and go for the finish here. You have 30 seconds on Nif. You got 5 guys. Go and finish this game.
The death timers are so long. You're so right. They've managed to grab an inhibitor. What is going on for Elements? They look like they had the towers all game long. There's a Nexus turret going down. Werlib is distracting. Have Giants actually been able to do this? there's one more tower. They're not doing it. There we go. Turn their attention. Giants Gaming, they haven't won a game since week 1, but they're about to do it here. They have pulled off the upset. Giants Gaming beat Elements. Oh my God. Nothing more you can say. Giants.
Look at them, look how happy they are. And Elements just sitting down there realizing they had this game in the bag. They had it. Their game was won from Elements, and then Giants just miracle comeback.
There are no words. As much as I'm trying to find a reaction to that game, Giants with a massive, massive swing in their favor. Elements, a couple misplays here was all it took, and solemn faces from them as the Giants, beyond all hope, come up with their third win of the split.
Yes, and they're breaking their losing streak of 6 games. Normally when you look at your schedule and you're down here, again, you've lost so many games in a row, you don't look at Elements and say, that's a game where we bounce them back. This one right here. But it turned out to be for Giants. And honestly, I mean, that Baron, I don't think it was a bad call from Elements. They had 2 kills already. As long as they had one guy going out of the Baron pit, locking down that Rek'Sai, so he couldn't get in and try and smite it against Shook, which is what happened. And then there was just a massive wave for Giants in the bottom lane. 2 cannon minions. They pick up 3 kills. And look at Froggen here. I mean,
he can't believe it happened.
No.
Neither can I, man.
That should never happen. Ever.
Absolutely not. They were not in sync at all. We were coming back from the replay on the Baron, and all of a sudden, there were 2 members of Elements dead. And they just tried to salvage the situation. The death timers were too long. I could go back and forth all day on that, but that was just one for the history books, really, in terms of comebacks.
Yeah.
Giants
For real.
come up with the most unlikely victory I think that we have seen this split.
They were behind all game long. Always a step behind. Elements was just running around them. Didn't allow them to get in that 5-on-5 team fight. Didn't allow them to use their wave play at all. They kept pushing every single lane. Get all the outer turrets down. Get the picks in the mid lane. And
there's nothing else you can say. They did it.
No,
they did more in that last minute and a half. Not even a minute than we'd seen them do. They had tried to make plays all game. They had been pushed back. Elements seemed to be just on a slow march to victory, but a march to victory nonetheless. And Giants were able to claw their way through.
I think that's safe.
It was
to say.
impressive performance from them to prioritize the targets. Elements just scattered all over the place in that last fight.
Yeah, again, from losing the Baron to then being picked off in the bottom lane. 3 guys just died instantly as Giants came down. Allowed them again to win this game.
Yeah, and after all the picks, all the mispositionings from Giants, Pepinero got picked off several times, 3, 6, and 4 on that Xerath. Froggen was not killed this game, by the way.
10-0 and 8.
10-0-8 on the Ahri. He looked amazingly good. I honestly want to just take a look at that last one again, because that was just, my brain is still trying to process it.
I'm sure the analyst desk is going to take a look at that play. I hope so at least. But for Elements in this game, or about this game here, yes, it sucks you lost. You want to obviously break your losing streak. You want to get towards the top standings again where you feel like you belong. But they can still look at a game and say, okay, there was a lot of improvements compared to what we've seen the last 2 weeks.
This is true.
There was some good plays coming in. Kevin on Lissandra had some very nice flanks, roams from the top lane. They got all the outer turrets down. It was slow, but there was a lot of positive things, except for obviously then when you lose the game in the end.
Yeah.
But up until that point, a lot of things Elements can take from this game and say, okay, it's looking better than it was last week.
Up until the point where they lost, they were
Basically.
winning. And they did perform overall much better. Kevin's debut was very well received. I believe he goes 5-3 and 6 on the Lissandra. He had some monster engages. He really gave Elements a lot of an edge in that one. And honestly, yeah, despite the result, it was a good performance from them. I think they definitely have to shake it off. They're going to be up against Rocket, who are on a skid themselves.
Yeah.
That game tomorrow is definitely going to be very, very telling for how this one's going to shake out, this spring split.
If Elements play like they did today, they're going to beat Rocket tomorrow as well, because it's going to be the same style of, the same kind of game here where early game and mid game should go in favor of Elements, and as long as they're not afraid to actually make some plays from that lead they're going to get, they will or should be able to beat Rocket. So yes, again, it sucks you lost, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
Yeah, well, a giant upset is a giant upset nonetheless. Now, for a look into that come-from-behind win, let's send it over to Shocks and Tabs at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Pyrotechnics. We're here with Pepinero and Riot after that huge upset win over Elements. Congratulations, guys, first off. Am I right in assuming that you guys are still kind of shocked that you ended up winning that game, Riot?
We didn't expect this victory at this moment. They start to snowball, and I don't know. We do some cuts in the mid game. We do a call into the bot lane, and we realize that we killed 3 people in that bot lane, and we can finish with so. I don't know.
Well, I'll make you relive that moment, because let's actually get the replay up on the screen of when you guys somehow, after miraculously stealing Baron, you guys are able to push through here, and Riot, talk us through the calling and realizing that you're making those picks. Let's roll the clip.
Yeah, at this moment, Pepinero called to go bot lane. We got Reckless here, and I don't understand this TP, but. Actually, he TP and he died. At this moment, Froggen cannot kill anybody. We realized that there are only 2 and they have like 50 seconds to death respawn. So we realized that we were so excited. We realized that we can finish this game, and we did it.
You guys did fantastic, saying that you didn't expect it yourself. Tabs, what's your take on what Elements did there in the bottom lane? Should they have just tried to defend, but they couldn't versus those picks?
Yeah, I really think they just thought they were so far ahead. They were kind of sloppy on their play. They didn't really pay too much attention. So when they did get picked off, I think they were like, oh dear, like we're actually going to lose now, like because we just lost 3 people. They didn't see it coming at all. Like even when the Baron got smited, they were still so far ahead, and it was still such a long shot to victory for the Giants. So they weren't really like that focused there, I think, and that's just what caused them this loss.
Pepinero, for you as well. We know how good your Xerath is, but it wasn't quite working out. Froggen was really getting the better of you in that game. So talk us through how you lived the game.
Lo he entendido,
Vale.
pero lo que quiero decirle es que yo creo que ya no es por Froggen, es por el ruseo del avisal que se hace en todos los medios y que hace que pueda ganar 1 versus 1 a cualquiera, ¿sabes? Por mucho daño que tenga el personaje. Así que fue muy difícil por ser Froggen y por llevar el avisal.
Yeah, he told me that now a lot of mid laners are using Abyssal Scepter as first item. It's very, very hard to lane versus that. And he thinks his Froggen is very good, but at the moment you put together Froggen and Abyssal Scepter is totally terrible.
Totally terrible to fight against. Pepinero, what have been your thoughts or your experiences in general? Because you were a very hyped player coming into this, but it's so hard to go up against all of these mid laners.
Ahora sí que quiero traducción.
Vale, can you repeat?
Yes, so Pepinero was very hyped coming into this season as a very hyped up mid laner, but it has been hard for him to adjust. So what has it been like?
Que ahora eres nuevo, ¿no? En la LCS, ¿no? En todo esto, y cómo te estás viendo en estos partidos y en estos enfrentamientos.
Creo que se diferencia mucho el nivel de la LCS al nivel de la Challenger Series solo por la razón de que juegan más para no morir que a matar. Y eso se nota mucho, yo creo. Que es muy difícil.
He told me that when he comes to the LCS, he felt that the mid laners plays to don't die instead of plays aggressive. For example, in the Challenger Series, they play more aggressive. They play like maybe more solo queue style, but they play to don't die, and he appreciates it a lot.
Okay, congratulations. One final question
Thank you.
for you guys. SK Fnatic is coming up. I'd like to hear your predictions as you played versus them. Who's going to take it, Riot?
I think SK is gonna win.
All right.
SK Fnatic.
I think the bans.
¿Eh?
The bans.
No,
Depende
pero
de los
¿quién va a
bans.
ganar?
Ya, pero es que depende de los bans.
It depends of the bans and picks, especially.
All
But I
right.
think SK, yeah.
You think SK is going to take it? Well, as for now, you guys can celebrate your own victory over Elements. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Coming up next, as said, is the season's first El Clasico as Fnatic looks to be the team to beat the undefeated SK Gaming. Before we go, we'll hear from one of the key players in this matchup who has made the biggest splash in the LCS this season by far.
Qué buena.